Hello. My name is Emery. Welcome to Coding Australia. This project is called Hello World.
Welcome to HTML, writing a website. We're going to move on to other areas later, but right now we will do what just about everybody does when they first start learning how to use HTML to write a website. You need a browser to display your HTML. You need an editor. This one's Kate that I use for actually writing the scripts, and you need somewhere to store them as well. So this is about as bare bones as you can get when you write HTML. It's all tagged, so that's your open tag and close HTML tag. Head, close head, body, close body. I've put a title in. It's probably not exactly bare bones, but it's close enough. And then I've just put this in here, alright, with an H2 and a heading to tag, open and close. Alright, so when you save that, you save it to your folder, wherever that happens to be. So there it is, and you right click if you want and open it in your browser, and when you open it in the browser, that's what you get. So it looks like that. This is what's being displayed over here, slightly bigger. If I made that H3 for example, and I save it, and all I need, as long as it's open in the browser, and then I just refresh it, it's just a little bit smaller. And if I put 1 there and save it and then refresh in the browser, it gets a lot bigger. Okay, so that's how we start. Now you can change the color and all that sort of stuff down here, but what we're going to do is we're going to go into here and we're going to add some what are called styles. Okay, so I will open up what I've got, which is this one. Alright, and let's just go through it bit by bit. First things first, let me make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. So it all looks pretty much the same. Just let me take a couple of things out which we'll put back in again in a moment. Alright, the bit that's being added is this part here. So you need a style tag, open and close. You need a body, open and close. The body defines what goes on down in the main page over here. So what we've done is we've added a background statement, and that background statement, RGBA, stands for red, green, blue, opacity. That means, is there a bit of transparency in there? If it's 1.0, there's no transparency. If it's 0, it's completely transparent. So your background wouldn't even be there. So we've got a green background, green, right. Our colour for our text is red 00, so that's red, and our font family is Trebuchet Sans Serif. And down here, the same thing. We've got a little bit of inline editing here, styles if you like, where we've written align equals center. That can be done elsewhere as well, but just to show you how it works there. And another line with a paragraph open and closing tag, welcome to my first website. So when we save that, which I've saved as hello 1, if I go to hello 1, then what I get is that, welcome to my website. Okay, hello world, welcome to my website. So hello world is in the middle, welcome to my website is still on that left hand side. The colour of the writing is red and the background is green. Alright, while we're at it, let's add one more style. So I'll just show you what I mean. We're adding another style. That style we're calling main. So have a good close look at what's going on here. Alright, the background colour is blue, slightly opaque. The border, It's going to have a border around it, and it's going to have the border's going to have a radius. Now we'll do a bit more in this particular area later, and you'll see what I mean when we come here, because different browsers require different instructions for certain parts, including the borders and a lot of other things as well. So we now add this style in, and then down here we use the div statement. Okay, this is the area we want. We use class equals main, which is that, and we close the div. Right, and when we save this and refresh, we wind up with that. So have a quick look, or a close look, spend your time just having a bit of a look at what that's all about, and then we'll move on. So to continue where we left off last time, this is what we finished up with. Now a lot of websites, most websites, don't just consist of a single page. They consist of a set of pages that are linked by some sort of menu link device, which is what we'll look at next. So this is a single page. It doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't do very much. We're going to add in there some menu link items in there to do that. Now to do that, we need to first of all add a little bit of extra code. So we're going to put our menu items in there below Hello World and above Welcome to my website. And we're also I'll do it this way first so you can see what's going on. If I want to put a link in, then I can put this in. So this is how you do it, a reference. If you don't wait a minute, if you don't want it to go anywhere, which at this stage we don't, then we just do that. So when you'll see what happens, and when we put this in like so, and we save that and come back over here and hit it, we get this. Now when you don't format your links, it defaults to that, which is sort of blue with an underline on it, but we're going to format these a bit so that they're easier to read and that they can do a few things, like when you go over them they change colour and that kind of stuff, which is how menus usually work. So we'll go back and we'll do a few things with it. So I'll get rid of that and I'll save this and I'll open this one up so that you can see what's going on here. So what we've got is we've added a menu class with a different color. So the menu class is this, and down here there's the class div open and close. It's inside main. Okay, so it's inside the main, and we've got 3 links typed in like that. Okay, so that's the script down in the body section that needs to be added. So if you know what you're doing, you can just basically type that one in, then copy paste, and then just change the 2 and the 3. That's the fast way to do it. So you've now got 3 menu items, and up here there's our menu there. So that's our menu style, and then underneath that, this is standard HTML with the use of the letter A. So it's a bit like body up here. They're reserved words, letters, whatever that you can use. So instead of having that blue underline, we're going to do a few things here. So our color, when it's sitting on the screen, is going to be kind of a yellow. Alright, we're padding them a little bit, and if you want, you can play with those just to see what's happening. You can come up here and play with this as well to see how padding works. Even the border radius at 15 at the moment, pixels, can be 25 or something like that. I won't worry about any of that. You can play with that, you can play with this, and you can move, you'll see things move around a little bit. So you can play with all that. So that's the standard, what it will look like when it comes up. This with the colon and hover is what's going to happen, what's going to change. Alright, so this stuff is to changes what's in here. So if that's in there, it still exists down here as well. Okay, text decoration, I've put those in on purpose and I'll show you why in a minute. Alright, so the margin doesn't change and this is put in and you really don't need it, but if you watch what happens you'll see in a minute. We'll try something and see if that makes any difference. Alright, so that's, you've got your div and you've got your links referenced there like that, and if we go over here and have a look, and I'll just refresh to show you, you get that. So when I move over them, you can see they change. Okay, and when you click on them nothing happens because they're not linked to anything yet, but they will be. Alright, and the padding helps to sort of separate them a little bit as well, so that's handy to know. Now if I go up here and put UNDERLINE in there and save it and refresh in the browser, then when I come up here you'll notice they underline. Okay, so you can do things like that. You can decorate, put a bit of decoration stuff in there. You can do that anywhere, but this is just one of those things where sometimes you linking the underline as well. If you don't like red, if you think, oh yes, maybe I want something a little bit more subtle, so you could do perhaps 105 for when you're hovering. Well, let's see if that looks any better, or not better but different. So let's see. Yes, so whatever you want, that's how it looks, and then we can start looking at creating more than one page. Right, so this is how we finished up at the end before, and we've added these three menu items, and now what we want to do is actually link to fresh pages. So the way we do that is we obviously have to create some more HTML files, but before we do that, to save ourselves a little bit of work, because otherwise every time we save a new file we're taking a lot of information that's exactly the same. So what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a separate file, and that separate file will consist of taking all this out of there, so all the style stuff goes, including the tags, and is placed into a style library that looks like that. So all that stuff is placed in there, separate file, given a name so you know what it is, and save it as style with a .css, cascading style sheet. So you've got to make sure you get the extension right. Alright, it's not HTML, it's CSS, and when you save that, which you do, and it's already done, you then need to link to that file using that, and let's just check that easy to read. So there's the statement that you need in the hello world, and it will still work. So if I save that, I've saved it, and I refresh, it looks exactly the same, but there's a lot less code involved. Now we're going to create three files, 3 pages. We'll have a home page, we'll have an about page, and we'll have a gallery page. So if I just get you to type those in, so type in those 3 words, and then we're going to put in our links. So this one is going to be hom.html, this one's going to be about.html, and this one is going to be gallery.html. Okay, now it pays to have all this stuff done first. It's going to save you a bit of work. So what we'll do is we'll just, to keep track of what we're doing here, this is going to be the home, what we call the home page. The title can still be Hello World, but this will be the home page, and therefore what we'll do is we will save this as home rather than hello3 home. So we're going to save that as hello through home. So we now have it saved as home, and what that means is this: if I go over to the browser, this is a fairly crude way to do it, but if I do this and just I could go into the folder and just open it in the browser, but I'll do this, and if I run that, as you can see, it's made a slight change and it's saying this is the home page. Okay, so if I click on the home page, it doesn't look much different, but I'll just close these up. Alright, so we're now on the home page, but if I click on the about, I get an error. And if you think about it, that makes sense. I can't find this. That's because we haven't created it yet, but we will. And gallery's the same. I can't find that, so I hit the back button, but we will in a moment. So, fastest way to do that is, that's home. Welcome to my website. Welcome to my website, or something like that. Then this will be the about the website. This website is about websites, or something. You write what you like in here, just something that kind of distinguishes each one so you can keep track of it. Now we need to do a save as, and this time we will call it about, and save it. And the next one we want is gallery, so we'll save this one and we'll say photo gallery, like so. And here are some pictures. Here are some pictures, or something like that, just so you know that you're swapping from one to the other. And we'll save that as gallery, G-A-L-L-E-R-Y. So we're slowly building up here, gallery, and that's pretty much it. So if we now do this, and just make sure we do a refresh, when we go to about the website, this is a website is about website, and gallery, so we now have three separate pages opening up, and home takes us back to home. So that's the fast way to do it. Now we might just look at maybe enhancing. Alright, so now we said we're going to do some enhancing, which we will. We're going to add some pictures to the gallery, and we're also going to do some playing with the background. So first things first, let's replace the green with something else, and there's a few ways we can do that. We're going to put this in here, and what you'll need for that to work, you're going to need a couple of things. First thing you're going to need is an image subdirectory, subfolder, and you'll need something like that, about that big. That's not very big. I think it's probably 60 by 60 px, so it doesn't have to be very big. And I've got some other pictures that I'm going to use here in a moment as well. So first of all, have we got that? Yes, we do. We go back over here to our body, and we put that URL in, which gives us the route to where the thing's actually sitting. We want it to repeat. We save our style, save it, and we refresh home, about, and gallery. And maybe or maybe not, you've noticed that in fact you can see a little bit of the background behind that blue area. If I save that and refresh again, gallery, it gets even more transparent, starts to come through. Sometimes people like to do that with their websites. Okay, so now let's go over and focus on the gallery. We'll just put this back to what it was. So let's just check. That's a little bit better if you like. And now what we're going to do is work on putting some pictures in our gallery. So to do that, we create another little style down here, which we're calling pics. A bit of a border thing happening here, and some widths and some heights. Now, depending on how big your pictures are, it doesn't really matter. If they're really tiny, it's still going to set the width and the height of each of the pictures according to this. So the size is 170px wide and 105px high, and there's going to be a bit of a box shadow there as well. That's for something that's going to happen maybe a little later on, to do with hovering over these pictures. So just a little bit of mucking about, and you can play with these as well, obviously, and watch what happens. So we've added that into our style library, which we've saved, and we go back over to gallery, and in here we are going to put our images. So each image is called up this way. First one is pet1.png. Okay, and if we just do 4 of them, oh wait a second, let's save ourselves a bit of work. First things first, let's put our class statement in here, otherwise we're going to have to put it in there 4 times. Now let's see how we're looking. Okay, so copy, paste, paste, paste. So 2, 3, 4. Alright, and we'll save that, and let's see how the gallery looks. Yeah, not too bad, I guess. So there's your 4 pictures sitting side by side. If you resize, it does some strange little things with the pics, like that. Goes back out again. We're going to be looking at what's called responsive design probably much later on, but it's in there. But that's what we have so far. Alright, so we've got we've nearly finished doing what we need to do in this particular set of YouTube videos. The last thing we'll do is add a bit of extra down the bottom before we head into some responsive and PHP and a few other bits and pieces that we've got to move on to. So we're on the About page, and each of these we're going to change a bit. So first thing we need to do is we're going to add 4 little images down the bottom for email, YouTube, Twitter and Facebook, and that's about what they are. They're 48 by 40 pixels, so they're not real big. You can go and get them out of the gallery, go to Google Images and go and get them and resize them so that they're about that size. So that's the first thing you need, 4 more images, so if you can go and get them, that's good. And the next thing we need to do is, if we go over here to the editor, is we are going to add a bit to the bottom of each one of these files. Now if I have a look at gallery, I've already done gallery. This is the bit that I've added. So the same div class up that's further up, except I've aligned center, and you'll see what sort of an effect that has. So all these bottom links, which I will put into About as well. So underneath there, I'll put them in there like that, and save that one. That's About. And then Home, same thing again, like that, like so, and save that. Just make sure gallery's okay. Yes, looking good. So the 3 of them have been saved. There was nothing extra in the style library that needed to be done. So if we go back over here and look at Home, we get these across the bottom, About and Gallery. Okay, now if we click on one of these, let's say we click on Twitter, what it does is it opens up the Twitter website, and if you want to go back to this, then to your actual website, your own website, that's fine, you can do that. Or if you prefer that each of these open up on a new tab, then the way you do that is, and I probably should have done this before I did all that copying, which wasn't very clever. So what you do is, over here, you add this. Yes, this wasn't very clever at all. TARGEN equals _new. So I'll just do a little bit of quick. Where are we? We're in About at the moment. Alright, well I'll just look at About for the moment and you can see what it's going to do. So that goes in there. So if you get your act together like so, I can probably just quickly zip over here and do these ones as well. Now I haven't pressed on the email one because that's not a valid email, but if you have a valid email in there, mail to and whatever your email address is, it will open up whatever email you're using. If you're using, you know, I don't know, Express or something like that, and your email's valid, it'll just open it up and expect you to send an email to somebody. That's how it goes, and if they open it up they'll do the same thing, whoever's using your site. So there's gallery, which we'll save, and about, which we'll save, and home. I should have done all this to start with, but anyway, you'll do it the proper way in the proper order and save yourself a little bit of work. And we save that, and let's just go back over here and we'll go home or about, and we'll click on Twitter, and lo and behold it opens up a new tab. Okay, and Twitter will probably load up at some point. Alright, so that's the bottom. So we're moving into an area like the header, the menu, the main bit, and the footer. So those will be words you'll hear too.
Thank you too.